Okay, welcome back. Last time we left off with having completed the teeth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a similar process and we're going to add the gums. You can see I went in and I kind of pulled a little bit on the top of the front teeth to give them a little bit more definition and squeezed them in a little bit to make the teeth a little bit thinner, maybe a little bit sharper towards the end. Anyway. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on the gums. The gums were hidden, and so if I click on gums over here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift H, and the gums will now become visible, and there they are right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them down towards where my teeth are. Remember I had stretched out the back end here, and I'm going to go ahead and just do that right now, using the edge, so a different method. So I'm going to click on the edge and I'm just going to go ahead and push that back, hang out just a little bit past the teeth. And go back to object mode and I'm going to reset my gizmo point and I'm going to push them out just a little bit. Yeah, maybe like that, just a little bit. We'll have to realign it up here at the front. Alright, so now as you can see, they're off a little bit there because of the way we have to position them, but we'll end up coming back around and fixing that. Okay, so now with that, again, we're going to do Control E, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab the little blue gizmo and push them in so that they cover my teeth. And I'm going to focus on the front teeth as a point of reference, and then what I'll do is I'll grab the faces and I'll pull those in the direction I want them to go. And maybe edges to smooth them out just a little bit. Okay, so now I think I've got enough depth for the front of the gums and maybe just a little bit more for the back of the gums. That'll be okay. Okay, I'm going to hit Q to quit. And in object mode, I am going to go back up to Mesh, Display, and reverse my faces so that now they're right side out, and go back to face and I'm going to pull these just a little bit as we move around, select them a little bit more, give them a little bit more thickness on the back. Just a little bit more there. We're going to run into the same issue as we did with our gizmo and the angle, but we're just going to go ahead and use the plane tool and kind of push it out the direction we want it to go. Alright, so now I've got some gums along the back here. I'm going to straighten this one out some. Grab the back face and just kind of move it. And just a little edged there, so pull that out. Alright. And we might as well go ahead and fix this here. Go ahead and rotate it out just a little bit. Straighten this out. I think that's probably it. Okay. W, go back to the front. Okay, interesting. Why don't we just go ahead and do it by vertices then? Interesting. Well, okay. We'll come back around to that in a minute. Okay, welcome back. Had a little bit of an embarrassing moment there for a second while I was trying to pull the face forward to line it up here. It wouldn't do it. It only allowed me to, for whatever reason, grab just the back edge of the face or those back vertices. It turned out it was the symmetry. Remember, I was set in the Z mode, object Z mode, and it would not allow me to move this face here because it saw it as being locked into that side of the symmetry. So by turning it off, I was able to move it forward and now get it lined up. And what I want to do is go ahead and finish working on the gums. So first, what I'm going to do is going to go back to object mode. I'm going to push them down a little bit to the point where they look like they might be lined up with the teeth. Go to R, squish them down a little bit, back and forth a little bit until I get them to where I want them to look. All right, and may still have to pull this forward, but I don't want to go over this line and mess up my symmetry because I'll need that later. So go ahead and now I'm going to add some edge loops. I'm going to hold the Shift key, right click, insert edge loops, and I'm going to go ahead and add the horizontal lines first towards the top, towards the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and add one on the edge here and add one back over here. All right, so now what I want to do is a similar process to what I did for the teeth on the center point here, but actually because of the way the gums work, they come down low into the teeth and then they kind of arc up this way and then come low this direction. What I'm going to try to do is just do this with just one in the center. And what we can do is use the tool to help us. So back to object mode, Q to quit, select, go ahead and go to my option box, and let's see if I can set these equidistance from edges. Let me see if that works for us. So, not so much. This one's really long, so what I want to do is also try to fix some of these along here. You see that they don't quite line up where our teeth were before. So what we're going to have to do is undo what I just did. Just now notice that. So let's go ahead and fix that first. So quit, and what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select and use my move tool. And I'm going to go ahead and just slide them along a little bit. Hold the Control Shift button. We'll slide them along. Make sure we get them kind of lined up better than they were. And we're going to need to also add another edge loop in here. And then we can come along, we can add our center edge loops as well. You just need to get them close. They don't need to be 100% perfect. So let's go ahead and go back now and add those edge loops. And I'm going to add one here. Go ahead and add one here. And here. Here. go. All right, so now we have our edge loops in. What we're going to do is the same thing as before. I'm going to go to the vertices, hit Q on your keyboard, right click and hold, go to vertex, and we're going to grab these here. Make sure we get them evenly on both sides. W, and we hit 3 on my keyboard, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of just pull that up a little bit, kind of see what we're looking with. And not too bad. Do it again. Right. Play with these a little bit so that they're not perfectly symmetrical. Some up a little higher than others, maybe a little lower. See that the back ones aren't perfectly lined up the way we want them to be, but they're not going to be visible, so let's just move on. We can go back in and fix that if it really causes some issues, but at this point probably be okay. We can correct them by either grabbing the edge loop on the back, grabbing the edges, or moving the vertices individually. This one here, you need to pull this vertice out a little ways. A little bit more depth on the gums. Okay. No, not going to do that. Use a different approach for that. Let's go ahead and grab all those vertices. Maybe just shift it a little bit. Like that. Then up. All right. So now we have the bases for our gums. Because these are solid, straight up and down, we are not going to grab the edge loops and squeeze them in. And at this point, I think we're going to leave them the way they are. I do want to make sure that this is lined up as best as we can get it along the axis line though. So let's go ahead and take a look at that here. And it appears that we're close. Go ahead and just grab these. There. Make sure we don't have the inside ones we don't want. We do. So let's undo those. All right, so now we just have the outer edge grabbed. Let's go ahead and see if this will work for us. Don't want intersection grid point. Let's see if that'll work. No. All right. Let's see here. So now I just want the front ones because I need to pull the front ones forward. I think that's where my problem is. There you go. That should be it. All right, let's take a look. Pretty good there. Smooth it down a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the one. Go to face, delete these faces, delete. Object mode, mesh. Make sure we're in Z, we're on the plus, and we're going to go ahead and hit apply. So now we have this all the way across. We may need to correct this here again. I did 3. See how all this looks. Looks like it lines up okay. And what I really want to do is just grab these front edges here probably. And push these in. Just a little bit. Okay. See if our symmetry is working. And it is. Good so far. Just push that in a little bit. Oh, fun. Okay. So let's turn symmetry off. It appears that this one and this one are sharing the same symmetry. So we'll have to be careful about that. Okay. And that seems to fix that. Okay. So now we have the top gums. What we want to do is do the same thing we did. We want to grab them, reset our pivot point for our gizmo, and we're going to control duplicate it, push it down. We're going to go ahead and rotate it in the x-axis. So right here, and close that, don't need it. Here we're going to type in 180. I should flip it around. Did. And now what we're going to do is the same process. We're going to rescale our tool, or rescale our object. We're also going to need to move it. So let's move it first. That. Rescale. Not too crazy. Let's kind of move it back and forth until we get it to the point where we need it. That's looking pretty decent. Now we got to go along and we have to fix these edges along here. Now with our symmetry being a little bit off for this, we're going to need to be careful as to how we do this. We want to double check to make sure everything's lining up correctly. So I'm going to select those, and it appears that those are okay. And I don't really have to move those too far. So let's go ahead and just pull it just a little bit. Right there's pretty good. Now this whole section right here, we're going to have to move it a little bit. So let's try, it almost seems like it might be even. We're going to have to fine tune it, but I think we can get this one and this one close. So let's try grabbing all of these at once. Missed that one. I think this right is here. Nope, we want 1, 2, 3. We don't want these. All right. And we don't want that one. All right. So now let's go ahead and move these very carefully. Let's use the plane tool. Actually, kind of, I think that works good. We have to do the same for these here as well. Be careful, I think we grabbed way too many. Our symmetry may be a little off on that side. Don't want that one. Don't want that one. Or that one. All right. Let's see here we want those. And over here, I have no idea. Let's see here we want this one. All right, we're just going to turn symmetry off and unselect these. Oh, that's going to be fun. Let's see here. We're just going to have to manually do these. Sometimes symmetry is our friend. Sometimes when we do these, we mess them up a little bit and get our edges or vertices just a little bit off from each other, and it causes problems. And that's all right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move it. Grab the plane tool, slide this just a little bit. I think that's all right. And this one right here, I need to move over. Grab our plane tool again, move it a little bit, and I think that's good. So now we got to do the same thing over here. Okay. It might just be faster just to do it this way. It up. All right, I think that gets us there. And now we have a set of gums to go with our teeth. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this one here. The next video will be the tongue, and hopefully it won't take 25 minutes to do it. And then we'll also add some real simple coloring to the material. All right, thank you. If you like what you see, please remember to subscribe. If you have any questions or any issues, please let me know and I'll address them. Thank you.